Most people think success comes from discipline and strategy, where it really comes from pressure. And oftentimes, it's not the kind of pressure that you realistically are wanting in your life. It probably comes from external things that to the average person would bring them down. But notice how almost every single genuine successful person in this world has gone through or has some sort of trauma within their life. And that's why today we're going to be going over the psychology of pressure and why trauma can lead you to success. And in today's video, I'm not going to be putting on any glasses because I am going to be talking about some serious topics here. And so I don't want to get it confused, whereas I'm halfway joking. A lot of what I'm going over today, I am going to be very serious on. Sure, I might kind of make a joke here and there, but a lot of topics I'm going to be going over today relate to trauma and actual real things that people struggle with. So because of that, I don't want to make too many jokes, only unless they're necessary and kind of fit into what I'm talking about. Now, without further ado, time to talk about the psychology of trauma. Trauma. Now, real quick, I do want to drink. I know I said I'm not making any jokes or anything. I'm not making a joke. I'm being completely serious. Body Armor should 100% sponsor me. I drink their drink every single day, and I always say how good it is. Let's crack open a new one real quick. Very good, very good, very good. All right, now to start off, since we know that we're talking about trauma, I'm gonna erase this off of the board real quick. All right, now, section 1, pain equals pressure, and pressure equals potential. So I call it the PPP. Pain equals pressure, and pressure equals potential. Now, to use a basic analogy, think about diamonds. Diamonds are created under immense amounts of pressure. Diamonds are one of, if not the most strongest material you can possibly find within the entire world. And that's a big title to hold, but the amount of pressure that it takes to actually make a diamond is a lot. Now let's apply this into your own life. The more pressure that you have, it's going to at some point force you to figure something out and become successful. Because only two things can happen. Either one, you get so much pressure that you just crumble and just mess up everything, or two, you're gonna find a way to make it work. You're gonna find a way to make it happen. And as humans, we're the most adaptable creatures to ever roam this earth. We can adapt to pretty much anything. So because of this, humans are very good under pressure. The issue is we live in a day and age where everybody has unnecessary amounts of pressure and they don't know how to deal with it. And then whenever you combine these two, you just create a clusterfuck of people not knowing how to actually deal with pressure. Now for potential. Everyone has potential, and nothing makes me more mad, angry, and frustrated than when I see people waste their potential, because you don't just need motivation. Everybody who comes up to me, a lot of them are like, oh, I'm motivated. I want to try this. I want to try that. Okay, then let's actually do it. And then they're like, oh, well, that's a lot of work, or I'll do it tomorrow. I'll get to this point. You don't need motivation. Motivation is not what will get you from point A to point B. You need something burning inside of you. You need a hunger and a drive to actually work hard enough to succeed at something. And pressure is what actually can lead to that. Because if you're living a life full of comfort and everything's handed over to you, you don't have to work for anything, then why would you want to become successful if you're already living life? The whole point of living as a human is to survive for as long as possible. So your brain is going to tell you, hey, this is what you need to do to survive. If you have so much pressure on you that you feel as if you're going to die if you don't succeed, then guess what? You're more likely to succeed, which is why I say pressure equals potential. So that's why I say pressure is important. For example, I started living on my own when I was 18 years old. I'm almost 21 at that point. So that's about 3 years of me living completely by myself, living in isolation. That's a really crazy thought whenever you think about that. And so the reason why I chose to live on my own wasn't because I had to, wasn't because I was forced to, because I wanted to put pressure on myself to force myself to improve and become a better person. And by me choosing that one simple decision has allowed me to go so far in life at such a very young age. I'm not saying I've achieved everything that I want or I consider myself a successful person, but a lot of the things that I used to write down on my journal back in the day, I would write it down. I will have this by X time. I will do this. I will do that. I've actually done and I've actually achieved. And that's such a crazy thing to conceptualize within your mind. So that's what I say that step 1 is having some sort of pressure within your life. Now, section 2, the thing that we're going to be going over are types of pain that create trauma. All right, now we have 3 forms of pain that can cause trauma within your life. We have emotional, we have social pain, and we have internal pain. So emotional, social, and internal. These are the 3 different variations of pain that can cause trauma within your life. Now, emotional pain. Now, what can cause emotional pain? We could put on there neglect from parents, neglect from family. We can also put on there rejection from love. So rejection from love. So for emotional, we have neglect from family and rejection from love. I'm sure there's more, but I'm going to be listing 2 examples for each 3 of these categories. Now, for social pain, we have bullying. So bullying. I'm sure that's how you spell it. So we have bullying, and then we also have exclusion. So exclusion. So bullying and exclusion are also things that can cause some form of trauma within your mind. Now, for internal pain, we have guilt for wasted time. Guilt for wasted time. And then on top of guilt for wasted time, we also have self-hate or regret. So self-hate or regret. Now, out of these 6 options, most likely you can relate to one, if not more, of these things. And this is where I'm going to get kind of personal and kind of deep with you guys, because these things are what cause actual trauma within your life. Simply buying an ice cream cone and dropping it on the floor is not what's going to cause serious trauma. Trauma that's generated from these 6 things are things that will push you to become successful within your life because you lacked in one of these areas at some point, if not now. And so after you've escaped one of these, it's going to haunt you forever. The thought that comes from one of these things, it's going to be engraved in your mind for your entire life. And sadly, the truth is there's nothing that you can do about it. You can only learn how to manage it and use these as strengths instead of weaknesses. Now, to start off, neglect from family. Maybe your parents never told you that they were proud of you. Maybe your parents never really raised you right. Maybe you argue with them a lot growing up. Maybe your parents fought a lot. Maybe there was an ugly divorce that went on. There's a lot of things that can cause trauma from family. Understand, whenever I go over all these topics, I'm simply just stating the truth and talking about this from a logical perspective on 1, why you have the trauma, and 2, how you can use it to actually benefit you. Because we all have trauma to a certain extent. Because think about it, if you're on this video right now, you want to be successful to a certain extent, which means that if you have that hunger and drive, you have some sort of trauma that's pushing you to want and crave success. We also have rejection from love. It could be you wanted to ask a girl out who you've been dying to get with for years now. You finally build up the balls to do it. You go and do it and you get completely rejected. She doesn't like you and never will like you. Or it could be that you've been in a relationship with a girl for over 6 years and then she decided to leave you because you decided to waste your time on things that weren't important to her. There's so many different examples when it comes to rejection of love. You could have also been in an abusive relationship. That could have been another thing that happened. There's so many different things. But basically, rejection from love. You are giving your energy to one individual and they are not wanting to reciprocate the same energy back to you. Now, social bullying. This one's a classic example. It could be in school or at work. Let's say you're in school, the cliche, oh, they push you against your locker, they take your lunch money, they take your lunch, they'll beat you up in the bathroom, they'll make fun of you, they'll poke at you, they'll try to keep on making you as mad as possible. Now, with bullying, it's very easy to develop trauma from it, and then eventually you become the bully because others bullied you. Because the only reason why anyone bullies to begin with is because they're insecure about their own life. Nobody bullies. Anyone who's genuinely successful is not going to become a bully. But basically, bullying is another thing that can cause trauma. Exclusion. Now, keep in mind, we're talking about social. And exclusion does not have to mean specifically bullying. Exclusion could mean that you just simply aren't as good looking as everyone else is around you. It could be you weren't picked to be on the varsity sports team. It could be things like you're not picked for group assignments. Like your entire life, you've always been excluded from every type of social event. No one ever invites you. No one really likes you. And sadly, some people experience that. And that can build genuine trauma within an individual. So far we have emotional and social trauma. Now we have internal trauma, guilt for wasted time. You could develop trauma from spending years on working on something specific, all for it to mean absolutely nothing. Now that's a very niche situation, but it happens a lot more often than what you think. I actually encounter guilt of wasted time the most. Toward now, I have a habit where I stutter a lot, I talk very fast, because I have a fear that I'm wasting my time. So I just want to get in and get out. And because of that, I don't really enjoy the present moment as much as I should. So I have a big issue where my trauma is I feel like I'm wasting my time and I don't want to waste my time. And so I actually, believe it or not, I feel like I can relate to almost everything on this board to a certain extent. And I feel like you can as well. If you really deep it and think about it, everything on this board, I feel like you can relate to. And the final thing for internal is self-hate or regret. It could be you suffer from some sort of depression, some sort of anxiety. You regret doing something that you did in the past. Maybe you slept with someone for the first time and you regret everything. Maybe you wanted to just not do that, but you felt pressured enough to do it. Now you have trauma from it. Maybe you think you're ugly. Maybe you think you're not good enough. But because of society, you've felt as if you have to be a certain way. And because of that, you've developed some sort of trauma from it. All of these things on this board all relate, and they can all build trauma. And maybe some of these you can bridge within each other. Maybe some of these can relate. Maybe your childhood was cold and hollow. And that's the reason why you build businesses and companies, because when you were younger, no one ever built you. Maybe your girlfriend left you and you know that you'll never get her back, but that pain of what if is what pushes you every single day. I could get really deep with a lot of these examples because I experienced them myself. But the thing is I've understood that trauma builds success. And this is basically what I'm saying, because I get a lot of people who come up to me who try to play the victim card, saying that I can't do this because of this. I can't do this because of that. Realistically, you can. You just have self-limiting beliefs that are preventing you from actually doing so. You have the potential to do great things. If you're watching this far into this video, it shows that you care enough about what it is that I'm talking about, which means that you genuinely have potential. I promise you. You wouldn't be able to make it this far if you didn't have genuine potential. And I want to see the best from you. Me personally, a heartfelt message. Even if you have trauma, use these as strengths, not weaknesses. It's a privilege that you've been able to go through these things rather than not be able to go through any of them at all. At least you know what it feels like. Which leads me into my next point of section 3, hunger and revenge. When I say the word revenge, I don't mean getting revenge on other people. I'm not saying that you want to get back at all the people who bullied you whenever you were in school. I'm not saying that you want to get revenge on your ex-girlfriend. I'm not saying any of that. I'm not saying that you're wanting to get revenge on any other individual other than yourself. A lot of people, including myself, you want to show your old self what you can truly become. You need to do this for you. If you are trying to get revenge on other people, you're never going to feel fulfilled within your life. Whenever it comes to trauma, you want to get that revenge on your past self. Make your old self proud and make your old self want to become the person who you are in this very second. This sounds very egotistical, but I mean, it shows that it works. I am very proud of myself, where the person who I was 5-10 years ago would love to be the person I am right now. I love a lot of things about myself. And of course, I know I have my flaws and my issues, but I'm very proud of myself. And so I feel as if I'm succeeding in this present moment by making this video, by posting content, by helping others. That is what fulfills my trauma. That is what helps with my trauma. You shouldn't be chasing success for applause. You should be chasing it for yourself. Because at the end of the day, revenge should be about transformation, not retaliation. Now, leading all of these things into section 4, which is success requires pressure. If you have no pressure, you have no urgency. In order to become successful, and I mean actually successful, I know I say that word again and again and again, but you have to have urgency. If you are not actively trying to put in the effort to become successful, and success means so many different things to different people, but it's just the general word success. If you're wanting to build that business, grow on social media, develop a better mindset, get that promotion or raise at your job, you have to have a sense of urgency. If you don't have urgency, then you're going to go nowhere because you're not even going to want to try. You're not even going to begin to attempt to do the things that you want to do because you have no urgency, because you live in a state of comfort. So if you have things such as this, if you have any one of these traumas within your life, use it to fuel you. Use it as motivation. I'm not saying use it as negative energy. Use it as positive fuel. I have the philosophy where I'm always motivated because I either have a positive motivation, and that negative motivation, I turn it around and use it as positive motivation. So there's always coal being put in the furnace for me. I'm always on go mode, go, go, go. Everything that I do is always pushing me to that next level. And so you have to develop that same mindset as well. I know it sounds like corny, cliche motivation, like stay hard, but like it's true to a certain extent. Your trauma can build you. Don't let your trauma destroy you. Because if you were gonna get destroyed, then you would have been destroyed when you were going through this. But it didn't destroy you, which is why you need to use it to push you forward. And finally, my closing statements for today's lecture is some of us don't want fame. Some of us just want peace. When I say success, I don't mean getting millions of followers and clout on social media. Some of us just want to be at peace within ourselves. Some of us just don't want the stress of a 9-to-5 or all these crazy things. Some of us just want to just live a normal life because we don't know what normality is because of our traumas. So your pain is a currency. You need to understand that if you have trauma, you have something that the average person doesn't have. Because a lot of people simply do live life with no issues. They don't really have anything wrong that goes on. Sure, they have like minor inconveniences, but not trauma. But like I said, if anyone who craves any form of success shows that something has gone wrong in their life, which is why they want to build a new one for themselves. I will leave you off with this one word thingy. We have pain. So pain leads to pressure. We're gonna go down here. Then pressure leads to purpose. And then purpose leads to power. And so you have to understand, the trauma starts with the pain. But through that trauma, you can use it as pressure to push you to the next level. And that pressure is what gives you purpose. Like I said, maybe your girlfriend of 6 years left you, and so you hope that she comes back every single day, and that is what drives you every single day to push you to that next level. That is your purpose. Maybe you didn't have a good family life growing up, and so you want to make a good family yourself. That could be your purpose. There's so many different things. By working on this and you have that purpose, it leads to power. And that power is the power to live life on your own terms, to not be bound by the trauma, to basically, it's always gonna be in the back of your head, but be able to escape and create a new existence for yourself. So that's just something to keep in mind. Whenever it comes to trauma, you can use it as a powerful weapon in your favor, rather than just letting it consume you and bring you down into a deeper and darker place. I came up with this idea at like 2 a.m. in the morning last night, and so I just wanna make a quick video on it. Well, it probably wasn't a quick video. I'm not sure how long it's gonna be, but yeah, hopefully you guys enjoyed. I appreciate you guys for being here. I really do. You guys mean so much to me, even though too many people watch my YouTube videos. And I've been pretty inconsistent, and so I'm trying to be more consistent, and I just appreciate it. So y'all have a nice day. Take care, and peace.